We're going to be joined now by Fox 2 Detroit's Robin Murdoch, who has more on this story and what President Trump is saying. Robin, good morning.
Good morning, Corral. Yeah, we're currently standing outside the Gordie Howe International Bridge. You can see it right over my shoulder here. Crews, they are putting the finishing touches on it right now. It is expected to open sometime in 2026. No firm date quite yet. But President Donald Trump is now threatening to block its opening, saying that the United States deserves to be compensated for this. The president took to Truth Social last night, saying that the United States should own half of the bridge and that negotiations should begin immediately.
Trump does not want a bridge. He wants leverage. That is the real story exploding around the Gordie Howe International Bridge. Because this thing was supposed to be a symbol: cooperation, trade, partnership between the United States and Canada. Politicians smiling in hard hats while cameras flash in the background. But now, this bridge is turning into another political knife fight, with billions of dollars hanging in the air and Trump standing in the middle of it screaming, "Why are we not getting paid?" And the craziest part? A lot of people in America are hearing that question and going, hold on, he might actually have a point. Because the Gordie Howe International Bridge is not some tiny local road project. This thing is a monster. A 6-lane international bridge stretching between Detroit and Windsor that is expected to move massive amounts of cargo, trucks, trade, manufacturing, and money between two countries every single day. We're talking about one of the biggest border infrastructure projects in North America. And somehow, Canada paid for almost all of it. Yeah. That is where this story starts getting weird. Because normally when two countries build something this massive together, the costs are split, shared, negotiated. Everybody takes a hit. But in this case, Canada stepped up and funded the damn thing themselves. Billions of dollars. Up front. While the United States basically sat there like the friend who says, "I got you next time," after ordering steak and lobster. And now, Trump is looking at this situation like a businessman staring at a contract saying, wait a second, America is letting another country build a giant money printing machine on our doorstep, and we're not getting compensation? That is the tension boiling underneath this entire story. And Trump being Trump, he does not whisper things like this quietly behind closed doors. No, he throws gasoline on it. He turns it into a spectacle. He threatens delays. He threatens blockages. He starts talking about compensation packages and trade fairness, and suddenly everybody loses their minds because the bridge that was supposed to unite two countries is now becoming another international political cage match. And honestly, it is kind of hilarious watching both sides try to spin this thing. Canada is acting like they are the generous neighbor who brought over a casserole dish, and Trump is acting like the guy screaming, "You still owe me for the driveway." It is chaos. Pure chaos. But underneath all the memes and headlines is a brutal truth nobody wants to admit. This bridge is about power, not concrete, not steel cables. Power. Whoever controls trade routes controls money. Whoever controls transportation controls leverage. And Trump understands that better than almost any politician alive because before politics, he was a businessman obsessed with deals, tolls, properties, leverage, branding, and control. That is why this story matters. Because Trump is not looking at this bridge emotionally. He's looking at it like a casino owner staring at a revenue stream saying, why are we not taking a cut? And once you understand that, suddenly the entire fight makes more sense. Because this bridge is expected to move billions of dollars in trade every single year. Auto manufacturing, shipping, cross-border logistics, massive commercial traffic. Detroit and Windsor are already one of the busiest trade corridors in North America. This bridge is going to make that corridor even bigger, which means somebody's going to make a ridiculous amount of money from it over time. And Trump is basically saying America should not sit there with its mouth open while another country controls the economic momentum around one of the most important border crossings in the hemisphere. That is the argument. And whether people love him or hate him, it is an argument that grabs attention instantly because it taps into something emotional. Fairness, pride, national leverage. Nobody likes feeling like their side got finessed in a deal, especially Americans. Americans love winning. They love dominance. They love feeling like they got the better side of the agreement. So when Trump starts throwing around words like compensation and unfairness and billions of dollars, suddenly people start paying attention, especially after years of inflation, economic pressure, and government spending disasters. People are already angry about money. So now you throw a giant international bridge into the mix and suddenly this thing turns into political reality television. And Canada absolutely hates this energy. You can feel it because from Canada's perspective, they already did the hard part. They funded the bridge. They took the risk. They pushed the project forward. They acted while Washington dragged its feet. So now hearing Trump come in afterward demanding compensation probably feels like somebody showing up after the pizza's gone, asking for reimbursement. That is why this situation is getting so tense. Both sides think they are the smart one in the deal. Canada thinks they saved a critical trade route and strengthened North American logistics. Trump thinks America is getting played financially, and somewhere in the middle sits this giant bridge, quietly becoming one of the most politically explosive infrastructure projects in years. But here's the funniest part of this whole story. The bridge is named after Gordie Howe, one of the toughest hockey players of all time. A guy famous for violence, aggression, elbows, blood, intimidation, and refusing to back down. Which honestly feels weirdly perfect because this entire bridge situation now feels like an NHL fight at center ice. Everybody yelling, everybody shoving, nobody backing down. It is the most Gordie Howe thing imaginable, and social media is eating it alive because the visuals are ridiculous. Trump standing there threatening to block the opening over compensation sounds like the plot of a political comedy movie. You can already see the thumbnails, angry politicians, giant red arrows, explosive headlines. Canada refuses to pay. Trump melts down over bridge money. The $1.8 billion bridge fight. It practically markets itself because conflict sells, always, especially when billions are involved. But there is another layer here people are missing. This is not just about Canada. This is about Trump signaling how he would handle international deals moving forward if he regains more power politically. Transactional, aggressive, relentless. He wants every negotiation framed as America either winning or getting ripped off. That is his political brand. And honestly, it works because it is simple. Most politicians bury people in policy language nobody understands. Trump reduces everything down to dominance. We're getting screwed. They're taking advantage of us. America should get paid. It is caveman simple, but politically effective, especially online where attention spans are dead and emotion spreads faster than facts. And the bridge story has all the ingredients: money, national tension, threats, trade, infrastructure, drama, a giant physical object symbolizing political warfare. It is perfect internet fuel. But here's where this gets dangerous. Because once infrastructure projects become political hostages, things get messy fast. Businesses hate uncertainty. Investors hate uncertainty. Trade hates uncertainty. If major transportation projects start becoming leverage points in political fights, suddenly everybody starts panicking about delays, restrictions, toll fights, regulations, border slowdowns, and economic retaliation. That is why this bridge story is bigger than people think. It is not just about one bridge. It is about how nations negotiate power in a world where money is tighter, politics are nastier, and every single issue becomes content for the internet. And honestly, that might be the craziest part of all this. We do not even consume politics normally anymore. Everything becomes entertainment. A bridge becomes a viral battle. Trade negotiations become memes. International disputes become thumbnails with giant red circles and people screaming into cameras. We are watching geopolitics turn into reality television in real time. And Trump understands that better than anybody. That is why he dominates attention. He knows conflict spreads. Calm does not go viral. Anger does. Threats do. Panic does. Nobody clicks on international leaders reach mildly productive agreement. People click on Trump threatens Canada over billions. That is modern media. Loud wins. Chaos wins. Spectacle wins. And this bridge story is pure spectacle. Because underneath all the politics is one simple question. Who should profit from the future of North American trade? Canada says they invested in it. Trump says America should be compensated for it. And the public? They're just sitting back, eating popcorn, while two governments argue over concrete and billions of dollars like divorced parents fighting over a lake house. That is the Gordie Howe International Bridge story. Not just steel. Not just infrastructure. A symbol of how money, politics, ego, power, trade, and media now collide into one giant screaming mess. And somehow, the bridge is not even open yet.